This video is important because it shows how information, even from licensed psychiatrists, can be twisted to fit an agenda. I'm not here to attack anyone, but if we don't start pushing back on how these narratives are framed, we're going to end up with a generation of men who think self-awareness is weakness and emotional maturity is manipulation. So let's talk about this clip where this red pill creator, MHD, tries to co-opt psychiatrist Dr. K's video about the differences in how men and women perceive male attractiveness. This video stands out to me for two reasons. One, I've always appreciated a lot of Dr. K's content. He does valuable work, and the science of human attraction and mating is wildly interesting to me. I'll always take the time to listen when educated people speak on it. The second reason is this. I want to more or less expose how red pill mindsets, when overdosed, become echo chambers. And I'd like to offer some counterpoints to debunk and challenge some of you who have gone a little too far down the rabbit hole. I'm not doing a full breakdown of Dr. K's video. If you are interested in that, I'll leave a link in the description. I've simply chosen a few clips so we can stick to a few punchlines.
So which one of these two dudes do you think is more likely to be critical of your food choices? Which one of these two dudes do you think is more likely to be judgmental about you? Which one of these two dudes do you think is more likely to be physically abusive? Right? So I know that you can sort of, people who are listening to this are going to respond very differently to what I just said. And that's okay, but I just kind of want to point out that when women are looking at this, which one do you think actually implies more safety? Which one do you think implies more kindness? Do you expect this person to be more kind, or do you expect this person to be more kind? You know, is this person a little bit more hardcore? Is this person a little bit less hardcore? Is this person maybe a little bit more forgiving, a little bit more chill, a little bit more accepting of your beliefs? Which one of these two people do you think is more rigid? And then the last thing, this is my favorite, financial security or some amount of material security.
Dr. K dances around it, but the word he's looking for is control. Which version of this man is easier to manipulate, contain, and rely on to be a workhorse? Spoiler, it's not the ripped, high discipline, focused on his purpose version. It's the soft one, the one who says, yes, dear, let's go deeper. Women don't want to compete with their man. If he's too good, now she also has to hit the gym, look good, level up. And guess what? Most modern women don't want that pressure.
You can already see how MHD, or Manosphere Highlights Daily, immediately hijacks and twists what Dr. K is saying. Dr. K is making a point about which man might be perceived as less safe, more judgmental, and less likely to be present and attentive with his family, while MHD flips it into a conversation about women trying to control men. So what if we think about putting a picture of an adult film star next to a picture of a modestly dressed housewife? Would men not also make snap judgments on who would more likely to be a gold digger, on who would be more likely to have ego issues, on who would possibly be better suited to a long-term relationship? Or would that also be about which woman would be easier for a man to control and manipulate? Put a pin in that.
Masculinity does not necessarily correlate with mate selection. Here's the big discrepancy between men and women. In study 2, we asked two groups of women to optimize male face images. So they asked the women to resemble someone they would prefer, either for a short-term sexual relationship or long-term relationship. So what they basically did is they asked women, you can adjust the face however you want. Make the face more suited for what you prefer in a short-term relationship, and then make the face into what you prefer for a long-term relationship. And what we discover is that women preferred the appearance of male faces associated with a higher muscle mass for short-term compared with long-term relationships. So when you ask a woman, change the face to whatever you prefer for a short-term relationship, they make it more muscular. And when we ask about long-term relationships, they don't make that change. And the most confusing thing for men is that the more manly you get, right? There's kind of like this this bell curve where if you get on the extreme end of physical fitness, that implies a high degree of testosterone, it implies a high degree of judgment, it implies a high degree of rigidity, and women won't actually prefer that.
Now here's where Dr. K fumbles the bag.
The last question that I've got for y'all is just a gut check, which is which one of these two dudes do you think is more likely to make a poll, and when the results of the poll aren't aligned with their perception of reality, is more likely to accuse you or a woman of lying, right? This is what we see on Twitter.
Biased, period. Women say they're attracted to X, but we've seen the data, apps, matches, DMs, behavior. You don't listen to what women say, you watch what they do. And the men with the best insight on female behavior aren't therapists.
And again, MHD cuts Dr. K off and calls his perspective biased. Come on. We all know which guy most people would judge to be more likely to be ego-driven, status-obsessed, and one bad day away from roid rage. That's not bias, it's pattern recognition, and most of us know it internally. But here's my bigger issue. The complete inability to put the shoe on the other foot. The further you go into red pill ideology is no different than the far end of feminism. The extremes are always blind to nuance, and logic, forget it. Because here's the truth. Men do the exact same thing they accuse women of doing. Take the easy girl, the OnlyFans model. If you've got the facilities like Chad and Tyrone, maybe you hook up with her, but most men don't have that type of access to women. Average men just subscribe, follow, like, and DM. Talk to any sex worker about how many married men are shooting their shot every day. Don't be deceived. The average Joe, or even the guys who get online to slut shame women all day, would fold like fresh towels to sleep with those same women in a heartbeat if given the chance. But still, most of those same girls will struggle to find men who are willing to commit to them. I actually think a lot of average men are just upset and trying to cope with the fact that the average woman has more access to sex than he does. But let's be real. If the roles were reversed, the average man would abuse that access far more than the average woman. So let me ask again. When a man sees a woman who looks extremely high maintenance, beauty obsessed, self-centered, and another who seems more down to earth, who does he judge as more attractive for relationship? That's what I'm trying to make clear. Men also categorize women, and guess what? Women see it and feel slighted by it too. Women rant all the time about how men say they want the wholesome girl, the church girl, the one with no makeup and natural everything. But then they follow, lust after, and touch themselves to the women who have had all the surgeries and take their clothes off to make money. So maybe the truth is this. Men also say one thing and do another. The very thing they love to criticize women for. I don't understand how people can be so lacking in self-awareness, so unwilling to entertain a thought that stretches beyond their own nose. This isn't about proving a point. It's about warning you how easy it is to lose sight of truth and objectivity when we only listen to people who confirm our pain. You can be critical of culture without becoming cynical of character. Dr. K is posing questions, while channels like MHD are selling conclusions. Do not confuse the two.